Yo, what's going on, guys? You got your boy AA420 here, bringing you guys the GBA Season 9 Uber Season Trades and Transactions for Week 5 of the GBA. Now, I know there wasn't trades and transactions last week. That's because none were made, so there's obviously not going to be a video on them. So this week, we're going to go into the transactions that were made. There were a couple very interesting ones, and without further ado, let's just get right into it. First up, we have Lars, coach of the Borussia Dortmund. He dropped Rock Dusk for Kofa Grigas. Now, Lars has been having a phenomenal season, especially by his standards, keep in mind, because Lars is obviously a really threatening coach. He's always done really well in the GBA. But for him to be crushing everyone, especially with how late in the draft he ended up getting his Ubers, whereas most of the coaches ended up getting really early on Ubers, Lars currently right now is one of the top teams, I believe the top team overall currently in the GBA, which is very, very upstanding. He's the only undefeated team left as of this week, which says a lot about his season so far. So there obviously is a lot going for him, and I trust that Lars clearly took a lot of thought into making this transaction. Now, I don't know if I personally would have done this if I was Lars, because right now this does only leave him with a Lando I and a Jirachi for rocks, and I guess Deoxys attack as well. And two of those mons are meant to be very just aggressive mons. Obviously, Lando I can force a lot of switches and get up rocks in that regard, same as Deoxys attack, but they both usually prefer to have a lot of coverage. So I'm a little bit unsure as to why Lars made this, but maybe Lars just felt he can comfortably throw rocks on those plus Jirachi, or maybe he just wanted the bulk from Kofag. It does suit his team pretty well in terms of just having a nice spin blocker. It's at least forces hazards to stay up really nicely. It also does give him toxic spikes, which I believe, unless it's Salazzle gets, and I might just be completely blanking really hard here, that is his only toxic spike mon, which is going to be very nice in terms of just trying to wear things down for Kieran Black, because mons like Kieran Black and Lando I could very much appreciate the chip that toxic spikes will guarantee over time. So that'll be very nice in terms of just Lars' roster in general. It gives him some more bulk, whereas with Rock Dusk, it's a very frail mon that's going to be just sitting there, maybe a suicide lead in most cases for Lars, because he didn't necessarily need the coverage from it. He has really nice coverage from Landorus and most of the options that Rock would get. His speed tiers are pretty fine in terms of that regard. He has a really nice just gap between, well, it's not a big gap, but the space between Jirachi and Salazzle isn't exactly huge, so he doesn't necessarily need the speed tier either. So I think that Lars will do fine even with this transaction. I would have personally kept it for a rocker, but it does still at least work for Lars, I think. And I think he'll use it really well this season, especially knowing Lars' team as well could really benefit from a mon like Kofag. So next up, we have the LA Nido Kings, coached by Danza. He's dropping Helios for Crocodile. Now, if we look at the standings, Danza hasn't exactly been having the best season, which is very, very surprising for Danza, because Danza's usually a very top contender. So it makes sense that Danza would obviously want to make some changes to his roster, and by dropping Heliolisk for Crocodile, he does give himself an actual ground type now, because his ground type before was Silvally, which is by no means a very reliable only ground type to have. Not only that, but it also actually does give him a dark type as well, which will be very nice for Pursuit Trap and Ghosts for Gengar and Mega Alakazam, which will actually help Danza a lot. I feel like that not having an electric type isn't as bad, because considering the fact that he does have really good answers to water types, such as Tapu Bulu, he also has the potential for Silvally Electric, and Mega Alakazam has enough special attack to break through a lot of dark types anyway. Whereas if Mega Zam need to switch out, it can't exactly do anything about Pursuit Traps, or against Ghost types especially, if they're just trying to fire off hits, if it's like a Scarf Ghost type, for example. So Crook being able to Pursuit Trap those mons, well, at least the Ghost types, and then able to still handle a lot of dark types, because they don't exactly do much to it, in terms of like a Dark Stab, and things like Bisharp that would Pursuit Trap, or even Weavile to an extent. This thing could be easy to take hits from, and then fire back a really nasty hit with its really good offense. So Crocodile in general is a very nice mod for Danza. It also does give him another reliable rocker, because right now, looking at Danza's team, his only rockers are Komao and Heatran otherwise. So having Crook as a really solid rocker for Danza will help a lot, as well as the Intimidate support. That could be really nice for just in general on his roster. As mentioned before, Mega Zam doesn't exactly have the best physical defense, but in terms of special defense, it actually is a really high special defense stat. So this could help Mega Zam actually take some hits as well. So I think in general, this is a really nice trade for Danza. Hopefully he can use it to get some more wins this season, as currently he's only 1-4, and I think that Danza's capable of far better, as we've seen through previous seasons, such as early GBA seasons, or even his D-League run last season. He put in a ton of work against a lot of really strong coaches. So I'm expecting only the best from Danza this season. He does have a Palkia after all. It's a pretty nice Uber to have, especially with the team he builds around it. So hopefully Danza can pull back. I'm really looking forward to seeing this season. And that's going to be it for trades and transactions this week. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like down below. Make sure to check out all the GBA links in the description below, as well as all the coaches who are also linked in the description below. It's been your boy, AA2 for 20, and I'm signing off. Until next time, peace out, guys.